greetings from Auckland. So I am separated from David at the moment. We've had an interesting past week, and we haven't really sat down to talk about any of the stuff we've been doing. So I've got a couple hours to kill until David's flight arrives here, and then I just figured, why not climb a tree to get away from people and talk to you guys and tell you about what's been going on. Let's see, where we left off, we were heading to Queenstown on March 17th on St. Patrick's Day. So we ended up in Queenstown after a really cold night staying up in the pass. Video editing Casey here. I realized that when I played back all of the videos that we did, I forgot to mention a whole day worth of activities. So basically when we woke up at the campsite by the lake after our Mount Kianga hike, and we started driving towards Otago to the wine country area, and we were able to have a nice winery day, and we went to 3 different wineries. The first one on the way was called Cloudy Bay, and we passed some beautiful vineyards and cow pastures on the way in. We were maybe one of 2 or 3 other people that showed up that day. It was a little bit overcast and windy and a little cold, but so beautiful. They had, snacks and things that you could order. The wine tastings were about 5 different wines for $10, 10 New Zealand dollars, which was really good. A little more expensive than most of the wineries in that area, but it was enjoyable. There was a really good sparkling rosé that we tried in our tasting that we liked a lot, so we just bought a whole bottle of that and enjoyed that while we sat outside in their garden area and got a plate of meats and cheeses that are all local to the area, and really just enjoyed ourselves. We chatted with the lady there named Jackie. They started a fire for us inside, and we sat and chatted for a while. It was really lovely. We enjoyed it a lot. And then both of us were still hungry afterwards. It was probably in the early afternoon by that point. So we decided to make an egg and pork sandwich in the back of the van, which was incredible. And then we made our way over to a place called Takano, which is a new winery that opened, and you could tell it was brand new. It was this gorgeous glass box house on the side of a hill, and it was overlooking this river and this valley area. It was such a beautiful view. The tastings were free. I believe it was also 5 different wines. A little skimpier on the pours, but all the wines were incredible. Every single wine we tried, I wanted to take a bottle home, but I ended up buying a bottle of Chardonnay. Then after Takano, we went over to Mount Difficulty, which is more of a popular winery. It was up on this hill. I think Mount Difficulty was the name of the mountain that it was on, and it also had a stunning view of the whole area. We decided to do a tasting there, which was maybe $5 or $10, I'm not sure, of a few different wines. And then we got another kind of snack plate there and just enjoyed drinking a glass of wine and the snack board. So that was lovely as well. I decided to take another bottle home, which was a Riesling from Mount Difficulty. So now we have 2 wines in our fridge here at home that I brought back with me. After Mount Difficulty, we started driving to look for a place that we could stay for the night. What do you think of the wine today?
It was yummy.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. We had a lot of tastings in this beautiful area. We're in central Otago?
Otago.
Otago. It says spent our entire days drinking wine and enjoying the views. It's not too bad. Look at that. It's so pretty. Everything's so pretty. Queenstown, turn left 400 meters. Is that where we're going?
We're going.
We're going. Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day and we're going to Queenstown. We decided to go up this mountain pass area with our van, and we didn't realize at first when we turned on this road, but we had originally said we would not be driving on this road with our rental van company because they told us this road is off limits to any of our vans. And we figured out why. The road is incredibly windy, like sharp hairpin turns, and I'm sure there are tons of accidents. And we actually saw an accident happening after we parked the van at the campsite area that we were gonna camp on the pass. We saw an accident with a Jeep just like turned over on the road, and so we watched the emergency people come, and we saw the tow trucks come to take the cars away. I don't think anyone was seriously injured. Didn't seem like the ambulance came and left really quickly, but yeah, it was a little scary on that road. I'm glad we made it up safely and made it down safely. So anyway, we just went up there to camp for the night on the pass. That's where we did our last video, was on that pass with that beautiful mountain range and behind us while we were laying in the van. So I wanted to mention that because I totally forgot when we made our next video. We ended up in Queenstown after a really cold night staying up in the pass. We went for a hike that day before we left in the morning. It was called Rock Peak, the summit that we hit. It was quite a climb. It was a couple thousand feet in a really short distance. Most of the climbs out in New Zealand, especially the South Island, are like super intense, steep hikes. So we've been really enjoying that since we've been here. Yeah, we went to town. We found a holiday park to stay in, which was kind of a crappy one. Just the amenities weren't super great. The kitchen, like most of the stoves weren't working when we tried to cook there, and it was just kind of not super clean. And it cost us a lot of money because we were in town. But we wanted to get a place with showers and a place that we could dump our gray water and like do all the necessary things and be able to walk into town because this was our last night with the van. So we finally set up our van, we took some showers, and then decided to go into town and see what was happening for St. Patrick's Day. And we ended up at this awesome Irish bar called Pog Malone's. got some beers. Oh, and we got some lunch as well. I had corned beef and David had some Irish stew. And then we walked around a little bit in the downtown Queenstown area, saw the lake, it was beautiful. Got some ice cream, went to another bar, got some beer, went to another bar, got some more beer, then went back to the Irish bar, and things were in full swing at that point. Getting a little wild. Lots of really young people, like in their early 20s or even younger than that, because I think the legal drinking age here is 18. So yeah, it was pretty wild. The band was really kicking up a storm by that point. They had been playing all day long. I don't know how they did it, but we had a really good time dancing in the Irish bar. It was so fun. And then after that, it was probably getting close to, it was about 9:30, and we started heading over to the grocery store because we hadn't eaten dinner yet. So we got some groceries, made dinner at the back of our van, and I felt terrible because our kitchen in our van was in the back outside. We were kind of making noise at 10 p.m., but we needed to eat, so we were trying to be as quiet as possible. Then the next morning we woke up, made ourselves a good hearty breakfast, then got out of there, dumped our gray water. It took us a few tries to get our propane replaced. We had to buy new bottles to return the van so we wouldn't get charged, and also filled up fuel and everything. So we dropped off the van. That went smoothly. We didn't have any issues, and David ran over to the car rental place while I waited with the bags to get our rental car. So we got a Hyundai Tucson, and it's a pretty decent car. It doesn't have a lot of space, but it was enough for us for our bags. So, but from there we stayed in Queenstown, and we ended up checking in my favorite part of this whole trip, other than the camping in the van, which was staying at the Hulbert House in Queenstown. I used my Hyatt points from having their credit card to book us one night there, because I was like, well, we've been in a van for 10 days. I wanted to have a really luxurious place to stay the first night we were without a van. We go in and we find out when we get there that all of the guests have canceled their reservations because of the coronavirus. And so we're like, oh man, this is crazy. We're the only guests here? And they're like, yeah. And in fact, we're gonna give you the best suite in the place because you're the only ones here. So we were like, awesome. They were super cool. The hosts, their names were Jay and Jade. They actually were live-in hosts, and then they had staff as well. And they were continuing to operate during this whole thing, and they waited on us hand and foot. They gave us lots of good advice on places to go and eat and things to do. We drank lots of their wine and had lots of goodies they were making for us. There's lots of amenities. Our bathroom was as big as a bedroom. It was incredible. So we really took full advantage of that. They also had 2 e-bikes that they could lend out to their guests. So we took the e-bikes when we arrived and went for a ride around Lake Wakatipu. Got to explore the area. It was really, really nice. And then we came back, and we had canapes made fresh from Jay, and had some wine. We drank a whole bottle of wine, and then we went out to dinner. Ended up at this place called World Bar, and we got Korean fried chicken sandwiches, which were delicious. And then we went to a place called Havana that served rum drinks, and we got dark and stormies. And then David was like, I want to make more dark and stormies. So we went to the liquor store and bought some rum, and we got some limes and some ginger beer. And we were like, all right, let's go back to the room and make some dark and stormies. Well, when we got there, there was a new girl. I wish I could remember her name, but she was super sweet, and she chatted with us for a long time when we got back from dinner. But she offered us some wine, and we were like, well, we can't say no to free wine, so we went and got wine. And then while we were talking to her, we were snacking on some of the desserts that they had out, and David was like, all right, I'm gonna make it dark and stormy now, so we just kept drinking. And then at one point we stopped talking with the girl that worked there, and I sat in the lounge with David and I read 1984, a couple of chapters of that, and then David, I could tell, was getting sleepy, so we just went back to the room and went to bed. Next morning, Jay made us delicious breakfast. They had like a whole spread set up for us. It was like a buffet spread, but then we also got made to order things, and it was just amazing, like the most royal-like experience I've ever had. We actually were hoping we could try to get a deal on a room for another night there because, you know, they didn't have any guests, so we're like, oh, maybe they'll give us a lower price, but really expensive rooms. I mean, the discounted rate was $500 a night, which is insane. Like, I believe the room we were staying in, regular price, it goes for $1,500 a night. It's insanely expensive. So we were so lucky to even get a glimpse of what it's like to experience that. I'm gonna cut this off and then I'll talk some more about the rest of what we did. I'm having trouble with my memory right now because we had so many events happen, but I'll catch up with you later.